Viewers, it's an anti-India shocker. A full-page advertisement has been published in Wall Street Journal against Indian ministers and key officers of the central government. Senior advisor to Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Kanchan Gupta, has tweeted that the mastermind behind this advertisement that you see there on your screens is Ramachandra Vishwanathan, who was the CEO of Devas. Vishwanathan was declared a fugitive economic offender in India, and India's Supreme Court also ruled that Devas was involved in corruption. I just want to quickly go across to my colleague and our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, this ad that we see here, it is said, it's titled, "Wanted, Modi's Magnitsky 11 meet the officials who make India an unsafe place to invest." Extremely shocking. It's an anti-India shocker. Abhishek, take our viewers through why this is something which is to be concerned about.
Well, first we have to understand who's this Ramachandra Vishwanathan. He was CEO of Devas, and the Devas Antariksh scam and the manner in which right up to the Supreme Court Devas lost, essentially making Ramachandra Vishwanathan an economic offender and a fugitive of law insofar as India is concerned under the economic fugitives law that we have brought in by the present government. Now an offender and a fugitive of law of India releases a full-page ad in an American newspaper, and there are no background checks and there is nobody to question. Obviously, Americans, like we do, can claim that they are a raucous, loud, uncontrolled democracy, and there is no harm in that. They can say that this is not establishment, this is between an individual citizen there and a newspaper. But what is important is, Shivangi, that this is part of a larger ecosystem which has really taken deep roots and has been nurtured in the United States. It's a continuum, if you see. What this Ramachandra Vishwanathan has done is a continuation of what we have seen being done by Gurupatwant Singh Pannu, what we have seen being done by Sikhs for Justice, what we have seen being done by Khalistani separatists, what we have seen being done by the IAMC, what we have seen being done by the likes of Ilan Omar, and the list can be long. What is important is that American media, the Wall Street Journal in this case, before that New York Times mocking India's space achievements of ISRO, or for that matter Washington Post, which very routinely provides its platform for anti-India sentiments to be strongly expressed or for India bashing. I think it's a case of a section within the American society not really adjusting with a rising India, with a very self-confident India, with an India which can really differentiate between its membership of IPEF, for example, and its trade pillar, which might not be in its best interest. So some American strategists perhaps think that that kind of independence is not warranted. We have seen the kind of lack of cohesion ironically coming out between the Pentagon and the State Department when Joe Biden today says that Pakistan is the most dangerous nation in the world, and just a fortnight back they supply a sustenance and maintenance package of F-16s to the same Pakistanis. So I think we see a bit of a fracture in the American society, getting expressed through these kind of occasions. But what is important is that in this case, Ramachandra Vishwanathan is an economic fugitive of law of India, and for him to be provided this kind of platform without any checks it speaks volumes about the kind of sentiment within one section of very influential Americans which really has no qualms in trying to put down India on the mat. Remember, what's the Magnitsky Act? It is an act of 2016 of the American Congress under which sanctions can be imposed on what they think are violators of human rights in nations outside, beyond the shores of the United States. officials, politicians, leaders, office bearers who they think are against their understanding of human rights. It has been extensively applied, for example, against the Russians, against the Chinese, against the Koreans, the North Koreans, and it seems that and many other nations in the Middle East, for example. And if Ramachandra Vishwanathan thinks that he can lobby with a full-page ad in Wall Street Journal and bring in those kind of acts or restrictions or sanctions against, Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister of India. We have a picture of Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General of India. And the ad also has one more picture I cannot make out. Rakesh Sashibhushan, chairman of Argya Corporation, and then of course he has mentioned Justice Hemant Gupta, judge of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Hemant Gupta. Which means there is absolutely no respect for the topmost judiciary of the country, and hence for the sovereignty and integrity of India. And those names keep going, adding on. You can keep adding those names. Essentially, this seems Ramachandran Vishwanathan's lobbying against all those names who were involved in the ISRO Devas adjudication at any level, right from the lowest court of the country to the topmost court of the country, and of course office officials and office bearers like the Solicitor General of India, topmost judge of the Supreme Court of India, and of course the Finance Minister of the country. Nothing can be done insofar as the government of the United States is concerned, because this is between a newspaper and an individual who happens to be a citizen of that country. But remember, those people who have those filters working and at the Wall Street Journal now, or for that matter before at the New York Times, or very regularly at the Washington Post, they have to understand if they have to allow their platforms to become vehicles of anti-India sentiment, it's not good for the Indo-US relationship and the larger partnership as well.
Right. And Abhishek, what is very, very, crucial to note here, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in Washington, D.C. to attend the annual meeting of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. And this is coming in after the IMF recently said that India is one of the fastest growing economies. Abhishek.
Well, obviously. So that's what I was saying. This self-confident rising India, which carries, its heft, its weight, in the manner in which it speaks, the tone and tonality, the tenor, it is really not liked. And interestingly, this ad comes at a time when our finance minister is in fact in the United States. She has been meeting all the top levels of the US government, and for the newspaper to really bring in this kind of act and talk about Magnitsky Act application on Indian officials, leaders and others speaks volumes about the kind of spin that was sought to be given to the visit of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. It is expected, obviously, that if a question is asked, she might respond. But even if she does not, what is important is that there is clear case of motivation. There is a clear case of influencing public opinion in the United States when Finance Minister is present there, and not just of the public, but of the US government as well, and the Congress perhaps. They can always, as I said, maintain that they are a very loud, raucous and a very vibrant democracy like we are in India, and they are allowed to influence events, influence decisions. Lobbying is absolutely legit and legal in the United States. The word itself, in fact, has its origins in a Washington hotel. And so they can say that there's nothing illegal about it, but there are certain things which go beyond legality and illegality, and more about perception, more about ideas. And if the idea is that India-US partnership should endure, then every element of the society really has to come together. And if there are these very influential, powerful segments within the United States society which do not like a rising India, then of course it's not good. Not good for the partnership, not good for the durability of the relationship. It is hoped that those in decision making understand that and influence and do something to influence these kind of events. Having said that, as I said, this is reflective of the larger ecosystem that exists in the United States when Ilhan Omar goes to Pak-occupied Kashmir and mentions human rights in the Indian Kashmir, and remember, she represents a very influential section within the Democrat public opinion in the United States. Similarly, the caricature of ISRO, or for that matter, Washington Post, and in this case, Wall Street Journal. So I think this is reflective of a larger ecosystem. IAMC, for that matter, which has been trying to manipulate, public opinion on the very sensitive communal relationship element within the Indian society. So I think this is an attempt at trying to put chains around a rising India in whichever manner they can, by influencing public opinion, by in fact influencing government decision making in Washington DC as well. And this is a piece with that larger ecosystem, Shivangi.
All right, thank you so much, Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, getting us the latest here. It's a anti-India shocker by a foreign media house. The Wall Street Journal has carried a full-page advertisement. You can see that there on your screen, targeting India and calling it an unsafe place to invest. All right, let's move ahead to the other big story we're tracking right now. This is coming in. One more shocking case coming in from the Valley, Kashmiri